my name is Ivy Blackmore. I'm a returned Peace Corps volunteer from Nicaragua and currently a Master's of Public Policy student at the Sanford School of Public Policy at Duke. And we're here today to talk to you about a weaving project I started as a volunteer in a small village in the mountains of Matagalpa, Nicaragua.
And I'm Dave Worden. I currently teach at Carolina Friends School in Durham, North Carolina. And previous to that, I have about 25 years in residential construction experience. And both of those come into play for this project because it ended up being a construction project in large part sponsored by a grant courtesy of Carolina Friends School.
August of 2007. Joined the Peace Corps in Nicaragua as a agriculture food security volunteer. A little village of 250 people, like nestled up in these mountains, and you know, there was still access to the nearby city, but it was, you know, remote enough that I felt like I could. It seemed like a place that I could really, you know, invest in and enjoy my 2 years experience. So I spent the majority of my time there working on sort of agricultural type projects, the chicken coops and pig pens, and the kitchens of the women were very poorly ventilated, so I tried to do some improved cook stoves, and also learning how the people, you know, led their daily lives. I never felt like the projects that I was developing and going through were going to be sustainable over the long term. Think about that community is so dependent on agriculture itself. So, you know, when it rains too much, all the beans and corn get washed down the mountainside, and when it doesn't rain enough, you know, everything just shrivels and dies. Talking during that time, like, you know, what other ways could we help these women come together as a group and have an income independent of their husbands? Because a lot of these women, you know, they're just in their home washing, making the food. And I was like, so, it was like one of our usual monthly meetings, like, who wants to learn how to weave? And you were chopping up your old clothes and, you know, sort of making a thick blanket out of them. So of that 28 women, 14 of them raised their hands sort of very tentatively, and we're like, we'll try it, I guess. So as soon as I could get back to the city of Matagalpa, which is about an hour-and-a-half walk down the mountain, I emailed my mom and I was like, Mom, we've got 14 people that are interested. And so she, with the help of the Triangle Weavers Guild here in Chapel Hill, she got a donation to buy their first loom. We were able to get 2 more looms, the same type, donated to the project from the Art League School in Alexandria, Virginia. 3 looms in the common house, but all the while thinking, like, this can't be, you know, permanent space, you know. Eventually one of the husbands of the weavers said that he would be willing to sell a very small plot of land that had been sort of, he had some coffee planted there, but it wasn't doing so well.
In the fall of 2010, when Ivy was starting her graduate work at Duke, she got talking about the need for a building for this weaving cooperative. So naturally that comes with a price tag. And fortunately, the school at which I work, Carolina Friends School, has a grant that they give a couple of out each year that's kind of open-ended, but community service and professional and community development is really emphasized. And so this project seemed tailor-made to what Carolina Friends School would like to sponsor. And I was fortunate enough to be awarded this grant. I had made a little model of this building out of wood that I put together out of my suitcase when I got there, and they were all excited because then they could see what it was going to look like. I was working with 2 masons on a daily basis and a rotating group of volunteers. One of the interesting challenges for all of us was to get used to working with one another, especially since I don't speak Spanish and no one in the village spoke English. We were developing intricate sign language, hammer, nail, drill. Most days, if not all days, there were torrential rains that we enjoyed fighting, and the foundation was just all hand dug, obviously. Some of it was so muddy we couldn't even use shovels for the clay, and so we were scooping the mud out like with our hands. And in the United States, if I want to string a straight line for bricks or blocks or even a wooden wall, I will use something called mason line, and you can't even buy it down there. It's such an extravagant luxury to have good string that was priceless. In fact, I left some on the job site one night and it got stolen. And, given that in mind, the finished product could, from say American standards, look a little crude, but if you're there working on it, it was amazingly accurate and well done, and an immense amount of, I would just say, effort and pride by the people in the village who worked on it. And it was real nice to see the collective effort of everyone involved.
Aquí te clavo.
And I remember I brought one picture back of one of the women who, here in the U.S., who had bought one of the other women's rugs, and I gave it to her. Then the woman in Nicaragua's name was Celia, and I gave her this picture of the woman who bought a rug. She's like, "Wow, now I really feel connected to like the world community. I'm something bigger than myself in this village."